Welcome back, everyone. I'm Palacio. You're watching Channel 82, and we are here with the Commissioner of Police, Stephen Corbishley. Now, as we continue on to this interview here, my last question for you actually is about the 6 departments in the Ministry of National Security. Now, all 6 departments, they all had reductions. I just want to know specifically, you guys have the highest budget, exactly $36 million more than the second highest. And of each security department has also decreased. How does the decrease in the police department differ from the others? Do you believe it's similar across all the boards, or?
Yeah, I mean, let's say sometimes can't compare apples with pears type question. I mean, the issue is that, the Bermuda Police Service got a larger budget because we have a greater number of people than any other department in the ministry. And as I say, about 70% of our budget is people. And the important issue, which I think I mentioned at the beginning, was the BPS saw 2 in-year budget reductions of around about 4 million at the beginning of this financial year. And then obviously we've ended this financial year and going into the new one with a smaller budget reduction. But if you actually look collectively, there's been nearly $5 million taken from the Bermuda Police Service, which obviously is in support of austerity. We work very closely with the other government departments, obviously with the Minister for National Security, Renee Ming, and the Permanent Secretary, Danette Ming. So collectively, the heads of department, we work in regards to how we get our policies right against different departments. We collaborate a lot. Certainly the police collaborate a great deal with the Royal Bermuda Regiment and also within emergency services with our fire colleagues. So we're constantly exchanging ideas in different ways. But each department has its own challenges, it has its own number of people, and they've been going through the same process as the Bermuda Police Service in regards to what's the core demand that we've got to deal with. And of course it's different. So fire have obviously got issues around high risk situations. Quite often the fire service is more around prevention as opposed to putting out fires. It's not the amount of fires you put out, it's the amount that don't take place. And then you've got other things with customs, and whether it be revenue and reducing the risk of, like contraband firearms, drugs coming into the country, and obviously corrections are completely different. So we all have different mandates, but actually we've got some shared responsibilities, which is overall national security of Bermuda, protecting Bermuda from harm, so protecting people from being at the risk of violence, injury, and at worst death, protecting Bermuda from criminality, and protecting Bermuda in regards to its international risks. And if you actually bring it all together, it's about the brand of Bermuda as well. And Bermuda's got a proud brand economically, but it should have a proud brand as being a very safe place to live, work and visit. Because if we do have that, and compared to some places in the Caribbean that maybe don't have that as much, if we start to rely and look forward towards tourism increasing, investment by international businesses, to see Bermuda as being that safe place with good services is a really attractive factor in bringing businesses and jobs to Bermuda and to Bermudians.
Okay, thank you for that. So my last question to you actually will be about the 17 people who are going to potentially leave the police department in September.
Yeah.
Now, what would that loss mean to you guys, like all that experience? How does that affect you?
Well, I've actually got, when I said before about trying to think strategically, it's not just this year, we're trying to think about 3-5 years. And when you look at the police service, we've got some great people there, but we actually have quite a lot that are sort of post 55, so they tend to work in a different contract arrangement, particularly in departments like serious crime unit and so on. And my worry is that we've got to grow our new talent. We've got to grow young people and bring them and get them trained, because we're going to see people, and it's not just a police officer leaving, it's a police officer leaving with 30 years of knowledge and 30 years of skills, but also 30 years of relationships with the community. And that's a real risk to the service. So whilst we foresee 17 vacancies potentially over the course of the year, we bring new people in. This is a cycle where we've got to start refreshing the BPS, because for me, whilst it's still a terrific service, I'm just a little bit concerned. Some of my colleagues are going to kill me for this, but it's a bit aged. We've got a lot of people that towards the end of their service, and we haven't And of course, again, because of austerity, again, because we haven't recruited for some time, I think we need to bring in that kind of new people, young, perhaps with a bit of life experience as well. And also that's really valuable for, I've got a great belief in diversity. Bringing people in, trying to get better gender representation, trying to get representation from different groups, because the police service should represent and reflect the local community. And if we don't do that, we can't give the service to the local community. And of course, the local community is diverse. And we need to be diverse as well. So it's about getting the right people to come and join us. And for me, and if anybody's listening, policing's a fantastic job. Every day is different. There's so many different opportunities, tough at times, rewarding at others. And the training that we offer people is absolutely first class. And you join not just a team, you join a family. And that family wears a blue uniform and it's there to serve.
Now, talking about diversity and the demographic of Bermuda, I don't know if you know this number off the top of your head, but how many black women are police officers in Bermuda?
Well, I can pretty much go through. I mean, I'll just talk on things. About 70% of our service is Bermudian, black Bermudian. And then you've got a mixture of, I think the next highest category is expat British, and then it takes into account Caribbean, and then there's Canadian, American, and so on. In regards to female, pretty sure, I think it's about 24-25%. It's actually low. It's about, I mean, compared to other police services, that actually is not bad. You see about 12-15, but for me, it's still far too low. But also it's about seeing female representation in different roles in the service, not just ranks, but specialist roles. And we're seeing that more now, female officers undertaking things like firearms roles, specific technical roles, leading other specialist departments. And for me, that's a really important aspect of policing, that we try and influence positive action to get representation in different areas, whether it be around gender, and also there's a lot of other value in regards to people of different cultures, sexual orientation, who are able to work in different departments and perhaps offer that extra skill set and support to different communities that they work with.
And just jumping back to the 17 people that will be possibly losing over this year, you said?
Yeah.
Wondering if you do bring in new people now to like train with them, do you think that the time is enough for them to learn all that experience?
Well, no, what happens is, joining the police, because obviously the police service is one where we do lots of checks, lots of vetting. We do a lot of work with people to go through in regards to kind of preliminary learning. And it takes 6 months before the person actually starts fully as a new recruit candidate. And when they join, they go into a probationary period, which is 3 years, and that's a range of different things. So classroom-based learning, law type thing, practical learning, so the kind of scenario-based things, and then they will get supported, go out and start learning the profession, working with other people and so on. And during that period, we do a lot of support. We go out, and it's important that we look at somebody's integrity, somebody's background, making sure that a person joins us has some key values, so honesty, integrity, commitment, and so on. And the people that we envisage leaving is kind of natural. It's people that have got retirement coming up, people that we know are going to depart. So it's right that we start this process. But of course, we've got to be alive to potentially other people make life decisions and go on. And one of the things that is really challenging for the police service is, in the past, and you get different generations, so the kind of, what's the one beyond millennials? Because there's another one after millennials now.
There's Gen Z, that's millennials. You got me, I don't even know.
Yeah, but you find that there's quite a lot of young people that will join a career for only about, say, 2, 3, 4 years. And sometimes that's challenging, because you can train somebody for 3 or 4 years and they think, well, I'm going to go and get another job. So one of the things that we've got to do is, when we train people, is get people to really enjoy the job and embrace it, and see it as something that is very much around public service, and they feel supported, and we get it right. So the investment we put into them is an investment that perhaps lasts for 20, 25 years.
Right, okay, understood. Well, thank you very much. I think those are all my questions for you, unless you want to talk about your social media presence.
No, I haven't. I think I've hibernated over winter with social media.
Will you see you come back?
Yeah, you will see me come back, and we've got some plans to do stuff with other people. And I mean, the reason why I started social media was, I think I got a bit of stick about, are we just showing off? I have a really strong belief in regards to connecting with the community. I think the community like plain talk. Social media is a good platform, which is that kind of one-to-one relationship, and quite often I just used to talk in the camera off the top of my head about things that were going on. Sometimes it got frustrating because I couldn't talk about certain stuff. So for instance, I used to talk regularly around the Chevelle investigation, and then obviously we know that somebody's now been charged for that matter, so there was a period that I couldn't talk about it. But my view is I'm just keen. People are genuinely interested in policing because they're interested in what's happening in their community. They're interested in what we're doing around some of the crazy driving on the road, or what we're doing in regards to, I don't know, a shooting that's taken place last week. And we try and get as much information out as possible, but it's one of the things that certainly the work done by Gary Moreno with the comms team is no one size fits all. People read stuff in different ways. So some people like to tune into the evening news. Some people like to tune into, I don't know, TNN or anything like that, Facebook, Instagram or whatever. So I think you've got to be alive to that. And I think sometimes policing in the past has been a little bit, what's the word, stiff and cardboardish in regards to how we do stuff. And it's just a different way of doing it. I remember, I think it was Gary gave me some advice, like, don't ever release like your, I don't know, an article at 10 in the morning because no one reads it. Get it in on the drive time. It's those kind of things. And if we can think of a multiple way of communicating with people, but the other thing I'm really interested in, which happens greatly with social media, is it allows people to communicate back. And I have had, and sometimes it's challenging, but I've had so many people contact me on Facebook that would not have contacted the police about things, around some issues, around where they're in highly violent relationships, that they want to tell us something about something that's happened. And I've been able to give them to a department, and their impression of the police has changed, and actually they've become more confident and so on. And I've always said that if you can get somebody that gets a good experience with policing, they'll tell somebody else it was good, and that person's perception will change. And this is why when dealing with people, we need to do it really well, make sure they're looked after. Somebody once said to me, treat everybody as you would do like your grandmother. What's the kind of service your grandmother would want? And if you get that in your mind, then you actually take those extra steps just to see how they're affected. So, I don't know, if somebody has some bottles of milk stolen from their house, we would say that's nothing. Well, if that's an elderly lady who depends on that, that's a really serious matter because they're vulnerable. And one of the things that we do now is look at people's vulnerability as opposed to just the crime. If they're vulnerable, we need to do more to look after them.
Thank you very much. And thank you everyone who tuned in and was watching. And I guess the last thing, if you have anything to say, or if you could even let the public know when possibly the next annual crime report comes out, if those are still things that the police
we've got, we've just started a new strategic plan which goes for 5 years. We're going to be publishing on our website, and that will tell the public a lot more about what we're doing and what we're going to target. We've got our new confidence measures that are going to come out soon, so we'll publicise that. Crime statistics, we're just getting those collated, so we'll publish them. But we're a listening service, so if people have got any issues, and quite often we get some really good ideas from the public, and it's important to hear about problems, but if people have got good solutions, let us know and we'll do something about them, because at the end of the day, policing is about all of us. It's about looking after each other.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Nice to see you.
Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for tuning in. This has been Palacio with Channel 82.